For the first hot lap of the session, so far Piovano has gone faster than him through the middle sector. Stealthy sets the benchmark of a 107.1. Very strong lap time from Stealthy. Piovano follows with a 107.6 and Scythe with a 108.0. Here comes Chris, who now goes 4th fastest, replaces Pika in 4th with a 108.0. Razor here, who will now go through the final chicane, keeps it clean, and the lap time is going to be a 108.6. Here comes Evan, going through the middle sector. He's improving on his previous lap that he has aborted. But Australia, him and Near didn't really get the clean lap in for the final part of qualifying to set a lap time, but here is Evan, who's improving massively through the middle sector. And going through the final chicane, loses the back end of the car a little bit, but goes across the line to set a 107.6, and that should slot him through. So now Lit Dennis and VIP is in the danger zone. Razor Hyper is in 10th. Razor Hyper is the current championship leader, and he is now at risk of being knocked out in Q1, but he's just improved by 3/10 on this lap. Loses the back end a little bit through the triple apex turn. Keeps it clean here, doesn't use the curb. And then this very fast section is really fun to drive on when you don't get any bumps. And Razor's finding time once again. He's now 6/10 up on his previous best sectors. Here now comes Razor Hyper. Try to keep it clean through the final corner as he hits the wall, and he's lost his front wing for good measure, and he's now stopped on the grid. So we'll look at Bali Pepe first, going through the final corner. He goes 2nd fastest with a 107.2, fastest final sector as well. We can see Lit Dennis and Chris are just starting their hot lap. We'll focus on Lit Dennis, who has a chance to knock out Razor Hyper here, but he moves out of the way and has stopped. Not sure what he's doing. But we'll look at Chris then, who's just gone over 1.5/10. He's gone 1.5/10 faster than anyone else through the first sector. Going through the middle sector, keeps it neat and tidy. Going through the fast flowing section, and he's a bit down, but this should be a good lap if he keeps it clean and keeps it out of the walls. Here now comes Chris, going through the final chicane, the final challenge of the lap. He's kept it clean, a little bit wobble on the rear, but across the line he goes fastest with a 106.8, goes top of the timing sheets. Piovano is improving. Piovano's just done the fastest middle sector. We'll look at him, he's absolutely flying in the Ferrari. He gets a bit of a tow from the brawn of Razor ahead. Here he comes through the final corner. He's kept it clean. What's the lap time going to be? It's a 107.2. Very strong lap time from him. Scythe now crosses the line and he stays 8th fastest. And we've also got Stealthy remaining to cross the line, and he's crashed. Stealthy has crashed and out of qualifying. I did, Stealthy, and his session is gonna be cut short. Go, 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 go. Chris leads home the pack. And, oh, look at the two Audis racing him. Evan and Near, they're pushing on the outlap at the moment. Going for his hot lap through the middle sector is green again. Okay. So this first two sectors from Chris is really strong. Basketic almost does what Chris does, and he crosses the line with a 108.5. He can obviously make it back to the pits and go for another flying lap. And Evans crashed. So that is our second crash in Q2. Okay, so that's two crashes we've already had. There's his teammate near who's going for a hot lap. Interestingly, he's running super low rears. And he's got through the chicane very cleanly. Here comes Near across the line. It's a 107.895. Very strong last sector. He went 2/10 purple on Pika, I think. Scythe is going to try and go for a second hot lap here. He goes slightly wide on the exit of the banking. He's lost 6/10 in the first sector, and this is not a promising lap for the Haas driver. You can see the rear is just not sticking for him. Meanwhile, he's got Bali Pepe behind, who is improving his lap time. Bali Pepe's improved his 108.6 by over 1.5 tenths through the first sector. Middle sector, he improves by another almost 2 tenths basically. But is this enough for Bali Pepe to possibly go for pole? He was very close to pole position last week. He goes very cleanly through the chicane. Here he comes across the line. He does a 107.2, 2 tenths purple through the final sector again. So Bali Pepe currently is on provisional pole. He's got Chris behind him who's just starting his hot lap. Chris is going to be currently second place, but he's going for pole position here. Piovano is also on his hot lap. He is barely lost time through the first sector, but he's also lost 2 tenths through the middle. Chris has just gone fastest through the first sector. We'll look at Piovano first. Through to the chicane, he's flipped. Oh, he's done a 360. And Piovano survives, but he only goes 7th. Basketic has just gone purple through the middle sector. Here now comes Basketic. The timer on qualifying is over. Here's the Mercedes who goes third fastest, but 2 purple sectors from Chris. He's almost thrown it. Here comes Chris, and he takes provisional pole. No, that's definitely pole, because I don't think anyone else is on a lap. Chris is going to take pole position. So Chris takes pole position at Greece, second pole position of the season, with the 2 Mercedes of Bali and Basketic behind him in second and third. Scythe starts 4th, brilliant qualifying for the Haas driver, near in 5th, and then the 2 Ferraris of Pika and Piovano in 6th and 7th. Razor Hyper, the championship leader, only starting 8th, and then we have Stealthy in the McLaren in 9th and Evan in 10th.